Hi guys! You can barely see me behind my vining plants. I wanted to talk about two plants today which are really easy care, and a lot of times people will confuse them, and I thought I'd talk about the differences and how you can tell them apart. And the first one is this philodendron. It's a heart-shaped heart leaf philodendron. Isn't that beautiful? And then the second one is a pothos. And then it's also a vining plant. So both of these are aeroid plants, and that means that they send out aerial roots that climb trees, and I think they also bring some moisture to the plant. So they're in the same family, but they're actually two separate genuses. And I know sometimes it's helpful to be able to tell the difference when you're plant shopping and things aren't labeled. But let me digress for a minute and talk about my philodendron. This philodendron is from plants in my childhood. My mom always had some of this on her windowsill, either in a jar or in a pot hanging in the window. And I was born in the 60s, so it was a very popular plant back then as well. And this probably isn't the same vine, but it is an ancestor, and many cuttings were taken from her plant. And by the time I actually took the plant from her, she was getting a little forgetful and overwatering it every day. So I decided to bring it home, and I rerooted it, but I saved it just from a few leaves. So isn't it wonderful when you can have an heirloom plant like that from your childhood? And this one sits on my sink in my kitchen, and it seems to really love the moisture that comes up from all my dishwashing. So that's just a little side note there. This is a very special plant to me. Came from my childhood and from my mom. But today I really wanted to talk about the differences. I have been meaning to show you that because I think it's such a special plant to have something from someone you loved, or or you've had it for so many years. So let me know down below if you have any plants that are from someone special, or that you had for many, many years. So I get a little emotional when I talk about that plant. But today we're going to talk about the differences, and I did take some notes about it. They're very similar. They both, like I said, they're vining plants from the aeroid family, but philodendrons tend to have much smaller leaves than the pothos. As you can see, I'm going to hold these closer. This one is much more, just the leaves are just so much bigger than this little more delicate looking philodendron. So this is my philodendron, and this is my pothos. And you can see in my two examples the difference in leaf size. These are really quite large, the pothos plant. And then the leaf shape on the philodendron is more heart-shaped. I'm going to try to show you closer. This actually looks like a heart. It curves inward toward the petiole, and the petiole is the part that attaches the leaf to the stem of the plant. So that one is more heart-shaped. And then there's a more, I'm not sure it's so obvious on this, but it's straighter across the bottom. If you can see across the bottom of these leaves, it's much straighter towards the petiole. So the shape of the leaf is similar, but if you look closely at especially where it attaches to the stem, you can see a notable difference. And the other thing is, these leaves on the philodendron are much thinner, and they're just almost softer. These are thicker and a little bit waxy on the pothos. So the pothos leaves are definitely thicker, and these are more delicate and thin. So the shape is different, and also the thickness is different. And then I'm just telling you ones that you don't need a microscope to see the difference, because they are actually from different genuses. which is kind of remarkable because they look so much alike. And then the petioles themselves are different. If you look at, and I hope you're able to see this, guys. I try to bring you outside so that you can see. But the petiole is this segment here. This is completely round. There's no indentation at all on the philodendron. But then when we take the pothos, there is an indentation where it meets the leaf, where it starts to meet the leaf. You can see here very clearly on here. I hope you can see it. There's an indentation right here, whereas on the philodendron it's round. So the pothos has this little indentation toward the petiole where it meets the stem, and so that's another way. Look at where it attaches to the stem and you'll be able to see a difference. And then the last thing that's very noticeable about the two plants that's different is the way the new leaf grows. And on the philodendron, you'll have something that's called, I think it's called a cataphyll, and that's almost like a new case. Let me see if I can find one on here. Oh, here's a good example right here. This is the cataphyll on this plant. And it's going to dry up because that's where the new leaf came out. But it's like a little jacket or a little case. And on philodendrons, they always have this cataphyll where the new leaf emerges, and then it dries up once it's out. And so you'll see, you know, little dried up areas on your vine where that cataphyll was. And that is only on the philodendrons. Whereas on the pothos, your new leaves just come out from, just start growing out from where the old leaf was. There's no cataphyll at all, no case. I say case in air quotes. So this one has no little cataphyls that dry up, and that's how they grow their leaves. It's a different way of growing their leaves. Aren't they pretty, guys? I love, it's just, they both give you such a jungle feel. So the leaf shape and the leaf thickness and the actual shape of the petioles and the new growth should be good hints. Oh, one more thing. The way the roots grow, the pothos tends to have one larger root coming out of the leaf stem. Let me show you that. If you can see it, there's one root per node. This is a leaf node right here. Wherever the leaf comes out is a leaf node. And the pothos has one large root. And the philodendron tends to have more roots coming out of the leaf node. So they're smaller and kind of more wild looking. And these are just one large root. So one large root versus multiple roots coming out on the philodendron. Okay, guys, so those are some easy ways to tell those apart. Now, I don't want to confuse you any further. I hope that clears things up and you can tell the difference that way. But it should not be confused with what they call a satin pothos. And this is a bit of a misnomer. I have a couple leaves that need pruning here. But this is sometimes called the satin pothos. And guess what, guys? It's an aroid plant, but it's not a pothos at all. It's the Scindapsus pictus. So this one is completely different from the other two, although they vine a lot the same way. And actually all of these can tolerate some lower light. The pothos is probably the most drought tolerant though. But I would recommend any of these vining plants. And just know that they're all different plants from different genuses. And you know, if you have a certain need for one, it's just helpful to know these differences. So guys, let me know if you have some or all of these. I'd love to hear about your plant collections. And just comment below. Tell me what you have. And also, like I said, please let me know if you have any special plants that you've had throughout your lifetime, because it's just such an amazing thing that you can keep taking cuttings and propagate from the same plant that was in your childhood. So guys, thanks so much for tuning in, and I'll see you next time. Stay well. Bye.